Okay.
Nothing.
Hang on.
It's now 4:02. We should be starting very shortly.
It's 4 on the dot. I'm sharing it right now.
Okay. Guess my phone was off. It's fine. Come on. There we go. You heard of this, Clint?
Oh, yeah.
You know even less than I do about Stranger Things, so.
Yeah, I don't know a damn thing. I don't know one character's name. I don't know the premise of the show.
Just know that Legos are important. Egos are important, and that's about it.
Yes. Well,
Lego my ego,
no, it's
bitch.
Eggo. Waffles. I actually know vaguely the plot of the first season, but that's about it.
All right.
Nothing.
We're live.
We are live.
All right, well, let's get into it then.
Well, we need to get the approval from the one page.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it then.
5e community.
Well, let's not sit around too long.
Audio's coming through. No, like somebody's listening to it on something and it's picking up.
All right. I turned off my volume on my computer.
That's probably was it. Hearing myself was weird because you never sound good to yourself, you know?
Never.
Well, these are going to get cropped down, so
Yeah.
we have just a minute. Here, I am sharing it right now.
Michael's listening too now, so.
Oh, yeah.
Reach out, touch fate. Right, no singing. Okay.
Can't get sued.
Look, Depeche Mode, if they want to sue me, I'd be glad because then at least they'd still be alive. Wait, they're still alive, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, but that band has not done anything new for a long time, so. They've done stuff, yeah, but it's all been old stuff done over again. As is tradition for old bands.
Don't do that. Why is this fucking not working?
Probably gets a shiny reflective surface.
No, maybe. Okay, this is. There it is. Okay, has been sent.
Let's go.
All right, just waiting on approval.
And Steven's already here.
Of course.
Yep.
Well, let's not wait too long. Every minute we wait is more dead air, so.
No, I'm just gonna wait for the official.
Yeah.
It's been
We
approved.
don't want to start with a majority of the people that are probably going to listen not being able to yet.
It's true. Hope he's paying attention. Otherwise, we're in real trouble. Hopefully, this is all getting edited out in the post process because it's a lot of waiting around.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
I'll just leave a note specifically for Dave.
I can hum The Girl from Ipanema if you want some elevator music. Sorry for those who are waiting and watching, but we're trying our best. Technical difficulties.
Yep. Sorry for the wait for anybody tuning in right now.
Which is probably just Fado and Michael, so hi, guys.
No, we gotta.
And our buddy,
we gotta
and my buddy
comment.
Steven.
Hello?
Hi. Am I supposed to be engineering your show?
No,
Oh,
I kind of figured everything out.
Okay.
well, if you want to come
I was
in,
the studio. Don't mean to interrupt.
Well, they
No,
were
you're
busy. We figured it out.
we're still working on stuff, obviously, so he's,
It's not a technical difficulty. We're waiting on bureaucracy.
yes,
Yeah.
bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Do you,
sorry
Ho-
for,
hopefully
do you need
they,
help still, or you
We're-
think you
no.
got it, or?
we're waiting for somebody to approve us on Facebook so we can stream to them, but we were having problems with the intro music, I believe.
Yeah, I just don't know how to use that program, but that's the only thing.
The Sam broadcaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could probably help us with that. So,
I can help with that.
can we get a chair for him somewhere?
Oh, there's an extra right here.
Okay.
Everybody just wait for...
What's your name, sir?
My name is Randy.
Randy. Okay. I just don't like calling people that guy or whatever. That's kind of frustrating.
So you have your song queued up, right? Have you started playing it?
No, I downloaded it to the computer. I didn't know how to get it up in here.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Are we on air?
Yeah, we're live right now.
I mean, we're live on Facebook.
You're on
right
Facebook.
now,
You're not on.
How many people do you have watching us on Facebook, Clint, watching us shenanigans
two.
happen?
yeah, we've got two.
Two
We have a
Three.
couple of comments.
Yeah, I just
already.
literally just randomly downloaded it. I tried to throw it up.
We have every band is a pledge and yellow, my friends.
What folder did you save it to?
Oh, man. Sorry, guys. Sure hope this doesn't cost us too many viewers.
Well, we're not even on the...
We're not on the.
Yeah,
the
we
big-
only got 2 people watching us right now, so. Oh, boy.
We still haven't gotten the approval yet.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't good.
Hope Steven hurries himself up. Worst comes to worst, we just got to run and throw the SoundCloud to them later because we can't wait forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just throw it in there and then...
It's already 4:08, so.
So. Then.
Oh, boy. Hope nobody needs this studio at 5 o'clock exactly because we might run over.
Yeah, Jimmy's at 5.
So that's why I was saying we need to.
Yeah, no, we're trying to get going here.
I'm aware. We're gonna have to leave at 5. There's
Yeah,
nothing
no.
we can do about it.
We got to get going, guys.
They're working on it.
I know, but we're on
Oh, well.
air. We're just not doing anything.
Yep. All right. Well, no admin can be bothered apparently to get to us, so we're just gonna get started, guys.
Yeah, sorry about the delay, guys. This will all get cut out in post, of course, but those of you who stayed live with us,
The secret track.
thank you. This is our secret complaint track.
You ready for audio to go live?
Sure.
We're ready.
But yo, at least we got this bumping new theme music.
Yeah, we do. Although, does not seem to be working yet, of course, but he's probably just not.
Get
spinning, so.
ready.
Get ready.
Welcome to episode 102 of
Or no, we're not getting nothing.
It's fine. We should really just get started. We've got 50 minutes left, so. Well, we were bound to have technical difficulties at some point.
Yeah, we've been really lucky the first 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Thanks for sticking with us, guys. This is 3 DMs at a Podcast Detroit. Do you want to lead off on that?
yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
work on that. So, boom. All right. Everything is falling apart around us, but that is okay. We have each other.
Yeah.
I'm Jake. I got Clint. I got Paul. Everything is kind of working. So we're just going to talk about, let's see.
Out of the frying pan into the fire. So it's coming near Halloween at this point. So I believe we are going to talk mostly about spooky things, I believe was our...
We're going to talk about spooky things, but we're going to take a hot 5 minutes to talk about Stranger Things. And how none of you have seen it.
Excuse you. I watched some of it with you just the other day.
I know.
To my shame, I've not seen much of Stranger Things outside of episode 1.
Although you need to finish episode 1.
Season 1.
Or season 1.
Yeah, no, I know.
You need to finish season 1. You both,
I got our Halloween costumes to
both of you.
finish. That's what I'm gonna do.
Very fair. Both of you need to get up on that. So,
There's just only so much time in a day, you know?
well, okay. It's just a phenomenal show, and they make D&D references all the time. It's a love letter to the 80s, and D&D is apparently a very big part of the 80s.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge part of the 80s.
Of course.
None of us were there though.
Let's not forget the satanic panic that I was not alive to witness.
I wish I would have been around for that.
Throwing back to episode 1 with our interview there.
Yeah.
So,
Stranger Things. What
Stranger-
about it has inspired you to talk about it on this show?
oh no, I mean, other than the fact that it's a complete, every 5 episodes there's a D&D reference out of nowhere, and the fact that they will just occasionally, like they'll take something they don't understand and then they'll just put it to D&D terms because it's a bunch of teenagers from Indiana who,
Middle of nowhere.
supernatural things are happening and they don't know how to explain it. So they're just like, it acts like it's acting like a this from the books. And yeah, they even like somebody in season 2, no spoilers, but someone just calls them out on that. They're like, that makes no sense. What are you doing?
Oh, the Demogorgon, I believe, is the main monster of the first season. So,
Well, it's just called the Demogorgon. It's not.
Demogorgon is a
It doesn't
person,
have two
so-
heads.
well,
It doesn't have two heads.
Yeah.
Or
Demon things.
tentacle arms, or really
Just
all
got
of the
a head that opens like a flower or something.
all the worst parts of the Bible.
And it had
No, but
9 mouths and 10
So
heads.
no, but we are going to take a hot second to talk about my favorite character from the show, Steve. Steve the
listening.
jock. Steve
I have heard about this.
Steve has the most beautiful flow that any man can have on the top of their head. A phenomenal haircut. He also is very respectful to women and occasionally whoops more ass. Like he whoops ass above his pay grade.
Some teenage kid fighting monsters with, I believe it was a baseball bat with a nail in it.
Yes, as you've heard me shout about in the car, this man has a baseball bat with spikes through it, with nails driven through the bat, and this needs to be an item in the game immediately. And it's going to be an item in my game immediately. It's Steve's baseball bat. It gives anybody who picks it up 2 levels in fighter immediately. No, because Steve exists in this wacky little world where he is a jock, yet everybody else in town is tougher than him. I'm pretty sure that, like, if he fought one of the 12-year-olds without his bat, they would murk him mercilessly.
So he's like the bully in the new Spider-Man Homecoming that's
Oh, yeah.
supposed to be bullying Peter Parker, even though he looks like a total dweeb.
Yeah, although low-key, too, that's Flash Thompson. And
He's
if-
super ancient. That's like back to the
Dude,
60s.
if they do the new stuff with Flash Thompson, though, do you know how sweet that is? Not to get off on a tangent too hard. Like, Flash Thompson goes to war, loses his legs, and gets the Venom suit from the U.S. government.
I
And
mean,
like,
that would be tight and everything, but if I was Spider-Man and he's going, y'all say when I say penis, you say Parker, I just showed up in my Spider-Man suit and, like, got to kicking some ass.
Well, you gotta remember, Peter Parker's a huge nerd, but we're getting off
Anyway,
topic.
sorry.
Why not? So why 2 levels of fighter, do you think, rather than just fighter proficiencies and fighter, like second level fighter abilities, like the style mastery with great weapon?
it's very simple because without the baseball bat in the television show, Steven is easy pickings. He throws punches horribly. He has no sense of self-preservation. He sits there and, he doesn't try to block. He just kind of presents his face and throws wild haymakers. But you put this spiked bat in this man's hand, oh my God. He has become a master of martial combat. He dodges, he weaves, he swings it around with dramatic flair. He becomes a remarkably talented combatant only when he has his baseball bat.
So this bat is basically his Popeye spinach.
Yeah, not only that, it gives him, he becomes tougher when he's holding it. He becomes like,
Increase in constitution.
yeah, he's got added con stats. He's more dexterous. He
His
just
hit dice goes up to D10.
This is a man who, light spoiler, gets knocked out by a dinner plate at some point. This is also the same man who gets
Hey,
dog
Corelware is really tough. The only thing that can break it is itself.
Well, I guess my question is, as a new DM, like if you were to introduce this item into the game, and it were to grant you just 2 levels in fighter in this case, like I guess you could use this type of system. This is a more general question for if you have an item that grants you levels in something, like how would that work as far as like let's say he's level 2, right, and he gets this bat and it adds 2 levels to fighter. That makes him at level 4. That gives him a skill bonus. Do you give him those skill points too, or do you just give him the abilities that would come along with fighter at that level?
I think we can rip from 3rd edition, I believe 2nd edition, negative levels where no, you don't get any of those bonuses. Just you count as higher level for proficiency, you count as higher level for direct attributes, and you add the average of their hit dice to your level. But you don't get anything else. You don't get like the skill. You don't get the what what's the word? The stat bonuses, because you lose it all when you drop the bat.
So it's not like when you break the threshold of being able to gain an extra attack as a fighter that you would actually gain that extra attack if you're wielding this bat.
Actually, I'm not sure on that one. You might get the class features, but the thing is, when you lose them, there's the question of do you lose the hit points that you would have gained through the bat first? So if you've lost, say, 20 hit points, you've got 2 levels of fighter. When you drop it, do you just drop immediately into negatives because you don't have those hit points anymore?
No, I would use it as temporary hit points, first of all.
Yeah.
Because, again, in this show, Steve, without a bat, really cool dude, tries his hardest, takes good care of kids, definitely a lover, not a fighter. With the bat, becomes a force of destruction.
Well, that's bad. I'm afraid I don't have anything more to say than that, given that my mic seems to be off. I'm sorry, can we get to the next topic here?
No?
No, I mean,
You got nothing more to add on bitchin' baseball bat?
Cut off.
Well, I mean, a baseball bat's a great weapon and all, but at the end of the day, it's a kind of a spiked club, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, it's not like a long sword.
so
or a
yeah, I
great
mean,
sword.
at least with me, that's exactly what my mind went to. I would have used like the damage die for a club, and then maybe done like +1 or 2, and then you add those 2 levels, and then that's where my question is I feel like there's a gray area there in an item granting levels in something, at least in 5th edition.
Oh, because it's the second he puts the bat away, he's no longer the fighter.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't get to keep the levels. This is something you give to a commoner, right? And they become a superhero. This is something that you give to a regular character, and suddenly they've got their whole existence figured out.
Well, I mean, it gives them class levels and all, but at the end of the day,
Until they put away the bat. It's like Thor's hammer. It's like classic Thor from Marvel Comics, where he is Donald Blake. Steve is just kind of wimpy Steve until he grabs this baseball bat. And there's not a dramatic lightning bolt or anything that comes down from the heavens. He just grabs his bat and he's just like, no, hang on. I'm fucking Steve.
and if he gets disarmed, what happens? Can he be disarmed with the bat?
Yes, he can very easily because it's a baseball bat.
Yeah, it's not like there's a lot
Baseball-
of grip or anything on the handle.
Baseball bats aren't exactly easy to grab with just one hand.
Well, I mean, baseball players do it when they're done swinging, but you do use 2 hands for it.
That's in the process of it flying out of their hands. So.
true.
Yeah, that's for like the bat flips.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a one-handed weapon, I suppose.
No, I just think it would be like you would never use it as a serious item, but it would be a
fun joke item.
a bit of a fun joke item. Like there's, say the party's low level, they've been antagonizing a certain NPC at the bar or whatever. He's been pushed around. The party just for whatever reason, because parties can be very cruel out of nowhere. They decide to mercilessly pick on this one NPC that you gifted a name. He mattered enough to have a name.
I mean, yeah, that's usually the point when somebody does something really stupid. NPCs who
And guess what?
have a name tend to
This
have-
NPC went and got his bat. And now he's a 2nd level fighter.
I saw a great vine once of someone trying to rob a convenience store, and the man behind the counter pulls a damn scimitar out from under the counter. I imagine that is the sort of scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Like without the weapon, they are nothing. But with this spiked baseball bat.
Oh, hell no.
But where are we? So the spike baseball bat, 2 levels of fighter. Obviously, you need to use rules to accommodate the temporary hit points, temporary proficiency bonus, and even the extra attack if they're raised to above 5th level for that. Heck, what happens if you raise them from 9th level to 11th level with the baseball bat? Do you get 3 attacks?
No, I would never. This would never fall into the hands of a person with actual character levels. Except for maybe once as just like a hilarious thing. The way I would do it would be, again, as much as Stranger Things is a lot of 80s like touchstones. It'd be one of those things like where the person gets the bat and they're like, wait, why didn't I get fighter levels? Because it was inside of him the whole time. He just needed the bat.
It was you. It was you all along.
Yeah, it was Steve the whole time. He just needs the bat to bring out.
You just have this random D&D feel-good story with this character of just like they thought that they were doing everything because of the bat. Meanwhile, it was actually in their character.
It was
all
all
along.
them the whole time. Yeah.
So aside from the baseball bat, what else about Stranger Things has impelled you to bring this as the main topic of discussion for this first?
Well, I mean, if
section?
I'm not mistaken, like the first couple of episodes, within the first couple of episodes, it just shows them playing D&D.
Yeah, it has been a gateway to our hobby. It's been a very high. Here's the thing,
like
okay?
E.T. before it.
E.T. a little bit, but satanic panic happens, so that kind of mitigated. But I'm going to talk nerd culture in general, right? Because I mean, D&D is our primary focus, but we still exist in the realms of RPGs and tabletop games and stuff. Harry Potter. When Harry Potter came out, I was at the perfect age that I aged along with Harry as the books were released.
Oh yeah, we're the same age, and he started 4th year when we started 4th grade.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Admittedly, at some point, I assume the Harry Potter books outpaced you, presumably on the 5th and 6th books where J.K. Rowling stopped actually releasing them every year.
No, actually, it was
The
still
7th book came out, I think, our junior year of high school?
junior or senior year of high school.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
2011.
it's still
2007.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, has it been that long since the Harry Potter books stopped?
Yeah.
Point aside. Age aside.
So Harry Potter.
I remember I was in
There's
I was
a
in
lot
middle
of
school for
people.
sure.
There are a lot of people who I know. People who think nerdy stuff is stupid. They're like, oh, why do you like that? That's weird. That's kind of weird.
That's a kid
These are
game.
the same people who dress as Gryffindor students and went and saw the movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people became very okay with the idea of magic and wands, and everybody wanted to go to Hogwarts and be a wizard or a witch as a kid, no matter what they wound up being. And still to this day, a lot of those people are still like, yo, would you go to Hogwarts? And they're like, yes.
I would take Hogwarts as a college education, I got to tell you.
10 years, 10
Students'
years down
rights
the
are
line.
severely compromised. I'd be concerned about their students' bill of rights.
Barely a decade down the line, we have Stranger Things come out, and all these kids on this show are remarkably likable. They show a bunch of traits that we all inherently enjoy in people. Like, there's one who's very funny. There's one who's very serious. There's one who's just a fantastic leader, and they all rely on each other and stuff. And they all play D&D, and it's even though there's not a whole ton of the show isn't about D&D itself. For some reason, a lot of people are just like, "Yo, that D&D stuff looks like a lot of fun."
I mean, at least for me, I've heard a lot of people when they start talking about D&D, there's a big negative connotation between it. It's like the ultimate nerddom. It's the final frontier.
No, we
being nerds are from some people's standpoint that I've talked to at least. And so getting something like a Stranger Things that I've seen, social media has been blowing up about the release of season 2. So having something as mainstream as that show D&D in a really positive connotation is nothing but amazing. For the hobby.
Community before
because
it also
the last bastion of D&D, shall we say, there's one step nerdier beyond us, and that is LARPing.
There will
That
always
is
be
LARPing.
Well, we can
So-
always make fun of them.
For those, but for those people that don't participate in tabletop RPGs, I don't think that a lot of them realize that
that
LARPing is a
it's-
thing unless they've actually seen role models.
Though
I learned that LARPing was an actual thing because of role models, and when they showed up dressed up as Kiss, I was like, "Yo, I don't care how nerdy this stuff looks. I'm going to LARP one day dressed up as Kiss."
I mean,
I
it's
have to get
also-
4 friends together and then sing Beth.
The
while
Knights
somebody
in
plays a
Satan
lute.
service.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's an important thing as well. It's imaginative play for children, and basically it's dressing up for younger children. When my brother was in 5th or 6th grade, maybe he and his friends would do that, and somehow his orc sword wound up in our garage, and it has been in my car for 2.5 years. The whip that we take to this
Yeah.
to the studio,
Right.
along with my snow brush and umbrella and tire iron. There's an orc sword. It's plastic, but
Ultimately, when I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear that I would be seen enjoying childish things. There's nothing wrong with that. But,
I don't think I've ever heard that put in a better way.
you're very
Honestly.
eloquent.
I can't remember who that was. I think that was, doesn't matter. I know somebody's going to correct me in the comments and tell me who that is, but that's not, I'm afraid I'm a little unconcerned with who it is. That's a great quote. When did you start playing D&D? If,
Oh, man.
You saw this thing as being the ultimate nerddom, because being nerdy
Yeah,
in all respects is popular now.
Just like I said, I mean, I guess going a little bit more into detail about what I said during episode 1 was I was a pretty athletic kid. I'd been playing. I played baseball from t-ball up. I played football. I was a wrestler. I wasn't your stereotypical jock walking around picking on kids wearing a varsity jacket, but I was very much caught up in athletics. Not caught up because I loved athletics. It was cool. But
it is
then,
cool, honestly.
But then I my buddy who I talked about in the first episode, his dad, I had heard that he had D&D, and like I had always loved video games. And that was kind of the thing where I was like, okay, like if I love video games, then maybe this would be cool too. I'm going to try it. But because I had so many friends that were athletes, like that was, oh man, no, you're a nerd. You're a nerd if you do that stuff. But I mean, that was when I was like 12.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of kids saying stupid stuff when they're that age. I didn't care and just played D&D
So-
and loved it.
When exactly did you get into D? Because you came from this place of, well, I mean, the ultimate high school jockdom, except without
Well,
the
no, I started
varsity
playing
jacket,
D&D in
but-
middle school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started playing. I played my first game of D&D when I was like 12 or 13.
I can relate to that. I started mine when I was 11, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
I played in 4th grade
Yeah.
for the first time.
Wow.
And well, no, but here's the thing though, like I hated it. It was it was 4th or 5th grade. My cousin had just picked up the books, which by the way, those books are now in my possession. I need to give those back at some point. I borrowed them like over a decade ago, just like because I liked reading them. I liked reading like the monster manuals and stuff. I thought it was really cool. But like I never looked at stat blocks because I'm like, that's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
And me and math have a very tense relationship where sometimes we're okay, but most of the time we just scream at each other.
Yeah.
But I remember playing the first time, and like I love the idea of being like I made it. I can barely remember him. He was like a dwarf ranger. I was dual wielding a hammer and a sickle as a 4th grader, and I had no idea I had the weapons of the
comrade.
I had the weapons of the people in my hands. It just like I had the money, and I was like, oh, a sickle looks cool. Oh, a hammer looks cool. Yeah, little did I know I was actually playing communist ranger. Brother,
Were your
yeah.
robes red is the question.
When all are equal.
They actually were because
all
red's
have
my
the
favorite
be-
color.
Oh my God. You played a commie dwarf.
I played a commie dwarf, and I had no idea. I actually didn't even realize. I like thinking about it, trying to bring all the memories back. I actually did not realize that communist proletariat brother dwarf, whose name I'm gonna try to remember,
Oh God.
was my first character.
Did Captain America show up and like
No.
try to stop you in your commie ways? Or
No. Like this is
What's
how
the
this
story
is how
on that?
You want me to tell you how far we got into my first game with my cousin? Because like we spent most of the afternoon making the sheet, and at first when you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make up a character. This is amazing, and you're having fun with it, right?
Then you end up making a communist dwarf.
No, and then you end up. This was 3rd edition. This was 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It was
if you,
3.5,
if you were in 4th grade, this would have been around 2001.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was 3rd. Yeah, no, it's 3rd edition. It's hard
Yeah,
3rd edition.
2000, 2001,
Not even
yeah.
3.5. 3.5 was 2003, I want to say. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So this was 4th or 5th grade. So around 2002, 2001. So we spent the afternoon making the sheet. Like
Yeah,
I went over there after school. It took us about 2 hours to make the sheet because 3rd edition rules. There's a lot of them, and
To be fair, I did codify a lot of the 2nd edition rules into something workable, but that doesn't mean it didn't have its problems.
right. So we start like there's no adventure hook. There's no nothing. I am a communist dwarf walking through the woods down a forest path, and 15 giant wasps appear. And at this point, I thought this game was actually a terrible game because, like, anybody who knows me in D&D, unless it's a combat that I'm like really like I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna ruin your day, I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna like unless I'm really motivated to combat, I do not like combat in D&D. And so suddenly I have to kill 15 wasps, which weren't
15?
giant wasps, which weren't that tough, but it was still just like
Holy.
I did about 4 rounds of combat, and I'm like, this sucks. Let's go play video games.
Yeah.
Fast forward to a decade later, you offered when I was house sitting for Teo, Paul, to run a game for us.
I did.
And I had actually no, we're gonna rewind. I tried to play one more time with my cousin. They had a table group at lunch, but I had a bunch of friends, so I'd go to different lunch tables every day. Some people were playing Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. Some people were playing like chess and checkers. Some people were on the football team and stuff. And like when we're in 6th grade. So I was hanging out with a bunch of people. So I had made a character. I can't even remember what happened, but Lord of the Rings had just came out. They all loved it. I thought Lord of the Rings was a terrible movie. I still don't like Tolkien. That's my hot take.
Very unpopular opinion.
Yeah, very unpopular opinion. No,
That's a
trust me,
hotter
it's
than the
me.
fires
It's not
of
you.
Mount Doom. No, I
it's
love
not.
it.
It's not you. It's me. It's me. There's just it drives me
okay.
crazy.
I'll agree with you, Jake. There are many things I don't like about Tolkien, but I'm listening.
He is still the grandpappy.
He is.
So
We owe him a lot.
so I sit
Your
down.
racist grandpappy.
Yeah.
Who you
This
say,
is
"Mm,
so.
times
This
have
was
changed."
actually I must say though, quick hot second aside. I admire my cousin's commitment to this idea of running a daily 50-minute D&D session
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
at
With middle
at lunch.
schoolers?
At lunch. Well, my cousin was the same age as me, so the idea
Yeah.
would be you know we've got like 30 to 40 minutes at lunch, and then like 10 minutes in between time after.
Right.
So hustle into the lunchroom, get all of our stuff. Everybody get to the table, break out your sheets. We're going to play D&D for about 40 minutes, and then we're going to go back to class.
Yeah.
But me being me, I was like social butterfly. I'm going everywhere. I'm going to hang out with other people. So I was gone for about 4 sessions, and my cousin, in a fit of spite against me, killed my character and then brought me back as Gollum, which I think also is maybe part of the reason why I fucking hate Lord of the Rings, is because I showed up and I was like, hey guys, I can't remember the character's name. I'm like, hey guys, so what's up with so and so? Oh, you died, but then we tried to bring you back. But you're Smeagol now, and they were just like, Smeagol, and like they said that to me a couple of times, and I was like way tougher than everybody at that table. Like they were all like the skinny dorks, and I'm like the bigger, jockier cousin, so I'm just like I want to murder all of them, and it scarred me from playing D&D for about a decade.
Yeah. I remember you're still somewhat reluctant to get into it when I offered. So.
Yeah, no, because I had flashbacks of just being like mocked by the nerds.
Well, thankfully that game did not end like that.
Okay, so really quick, we're gonna take a fast break.
When we get back, we're going to discuss the Undead Warlord by Daniel North.
Yeah, we've got a homebrew build to take a look at today. And also, before we go on our break here, let's take a pause for the cause. Let's pay some bills. Watchtower Comics and Games in Dexter, Michigan and Milan, Michigan. They are kindly enough to pay for us to do this right now. Stop in, buy some candy, buy some dice, buy some comics,
If
buy
you're
whatever.
interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons, peruse their fine resources.
Yeah, I mean, I know they've got a board for Dungeons and Dragons games ongoing, so
Yeah.
they're looking
Yeah.
for players. So if you want to try it out, go ahead and go check them out.
Also, if you guys have any input on what you'd like to see us talk about, whether it be homebrew builds, rules,
Topics.
Hit us up in the
anything,
comments.
anything in general, hit us up in the comments, message us. We are more than happy to sit and talk about anything that you would
Engage in
want
the
to hear.
discourse.
Yeah, of course.
And last but not least, if you could do us the kind favor, we obviously have no money for marketing or anything like that. If you could like us, share us, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, send it to people who you know who like D&D. We'd really appreciate it. We're just, the more people we can reach, the more people we can talk to, and the more people we can bring on this show, then, yeah, I mean, I think it works
the
for
more your
everybody.
entertainment will be.
If you're entertained by us, just please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, 3DMs podcast on both mediums, and 3
Wherever
spelled
fine
the
podcasts are
old-fashioned way, by the way. And you can listen to our show on where all podcasts are, except for Spotify. Apparently, no Spotify. Sorry.
Sorry, Spotify.
It's
All right.
the network.
We're gonna take a break. We'll be back.
See you in 5 to 10.
5-ish.
check, check, check. Check, check. Check.
All right, guys, and we are back.
Thank you for your patience.
So, one more time, just to pay the bills. Watchtower Comics and Games in Dexter and Milan, Michigan, southeastern Michigan. If you're ever in that area, please go stop by, buy some dice, buy a book, buy some comics, buy some candy.
We cannot thank them enough.
They've done a lot for us, and honestly, I would probably pitch them even if we weren't.
No, it's just a good group of guys, or a good group of people, I should say. And as I said in episode 1, it's the backbone of what we do, man. It's the best way to get into it is hanging around shops like that.
Yeah, it's your friendly local game store.
Go ahead, Paul.
Our next segment, I suppose I should say, is it's getting pretty close to Halloween, isn't it? So we're going to talk a bit about horror.
Spooky stuff.
Spooky.
I mean, Dungeons & Dragons is a hard game to do horror in, but thanks to Daniel North, we have the Undead Warlord available on homebrewery.com.
Also on the DM's Guild. This particular one is on the DM's Guild. You can get it for its pay at your own price. You can get it for as much as you're willing to pay, but
I gave him $1 because, I mean, even if it's just one Warlock patron, he still had to work for it. He still had to
Well,
farm it.
there is actually a lot of content in this packet, but we're gonna break this down really quick.
It's an awesome website too for just coming from a new DM aspect. Like I've pulled inspiration at least by looking stuff like that over because there's a ton of stuff on there I would never even think of doing.
So, a forewarning to those who are considering buying it, this is heavily inspired by Diablo 2's Necromancer class, which I think is excellent because I love Diablo 2, but some people
Which,
may not.
by the way, it does not come directly from Daniel himself. This is just what we've ascertained from reading over the class.
Yes. This is a Warlock pact, so you choose it at first level, unlike most archetypes. And you do get to choose your own pact later, and there's a special pact here. But this is a class around summoning undead and inflicting curses and using bone magic. Namely, one of the key features to this class is the ability to call up undead at 6th level. You can call up a number of undead equal to half your Warlock level plus your charisma bonus of skeletons and skeleton mages who are able to cast light cantrips. These aren't particularly tough creatures, of course, but they're 13 hit points, 13 AC. They can take a single hit for somebody, and pretty effectively. And they
Can take a couple of hits.
You said that happens at 6th level?
At 6th level, yes.
So I mean at 6th level, you have a plus 4, plus 5 to charisma. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
usually at that point, yeah.
You're conjuring up at least 7 or 8 of these guys.
Yeah.
That's 8 hits that your necromancer, or in this case, it's called the undead warlord, isn't taking.
So, and much like the Necromancer from Diablo 2, where I absolutely love this is this patron allows you to do what a lot of people who try to play Necromancer builds in 5e or even in other editions of this game, like they want to do, like what they think of classically, but they can't do because a lot of people do think of that Diablo like, and I'm just going to pull a skeleton out of the dirt.
Well, it turns out unless you're a cleric, you can't really conjure many good undead because animate dead's hard to get.
Yeah, it's a hard to use spell. It doesn't give you a lot. So this, where I'm absolutely in love with this is, yes, this gives you the guy who can just pull skeletons up and just is like, you know, like he's standing outside the bar. You know, I can see it now in my head. He's standing outside the bar. You had some words over for some reason. I'm going to presume that
You knocked his skull-shaped chalice full of whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet the rogue
marg.
did something cheeky and not correct because it's
Blame it
always the rogue's fault.
It's always the rogue.
Feeling that it's the barbarian, but
Yeah.
Or the bard's fault, but
Or wizard.
rogues.
I mean,
rogues.
when in doubt, blame the wizard.
Future segment, by the
never
way,
the cleric's
guys. We're gonna figure out whose fault it is. It's never the paladin's fault.
never the cleric, never the
Never.
paladin. Because they're good people.
I've gotten
Or-
away with literal
okay,
murder playing cleric before.
But beside the point, it's got, I wouldn't say all your old favorites because I'm noticing it's missing some of the poison spells, but it allows you to use the old throw special magic nukes at people with an admittedly slightly underpowered bone spear evocation.
Yes, which by the way cracks me up because I know what you're going, like what the idea of this spell is. It's just some, you know, ominous looking long bone, you know, spear, obviously. But I always just think like cartoonish dog bone.
Yeah.
In my head. So it's just like if that was me, I would just woohoo! Yeah. You're throwing dog bones at people.
I want to know why the necromancer turned into Mario there.
Ooh.
Because that's how I play my necromancer.
Hey, man, you don't know what Dr. Mario got his degree in.
Another said,
Another, by the way, just as a quick aside too, not only are you just getting this patron when you purchase this, you are getting a bunch of homebrewed spells, which on first glance all actually look pretty solid.
about 12, yeah.
And-
I would say all of them are pretty good, and I'd call them relatively balanced with the exception of Iron Maiden, which can quickly drop a dragon to its knees.
Yeah,
but
that one can get out
then
of hand
again-
real quick.
Now, for some trivia, Iron Maiden dropped the single player of Diablo to its knees in hell, like in Diablo 2, because they would break the game because you just hit yourself for 500 damage.
Well, I guess that segues into the big question here when we're talking about this homebrew class. Would you guys allow your players to play this?
no.
No.
I hate to be mean to Daniel, but this class is much more powerful than standard Warlock pacts and boons. And admittedly, the spells are available to everybody, but I feel like this is better off as either an extremely high power game where everyone's running around with ridiculous abilities. You could give this to somebody, or this is best as the hands of a villain. Because I feel like this would be best off as this is somebody who you need to deal with. is this warlock raising undead to terrorize the
Yeah,
populace.
as not even a bad person though either too. That I could see ways to make this but a formidable NPC. There's a lot of great imagery and a lot of the abilities, especially the way where it's like you can just summon a bunch of skeletons at the same time. That is a cool image. If you want to make your party poop their pants, all you have to tell them is,
This guy's summoning like 6 skeletons right now.
yeah, well, in the dramatic DM voice, you stand across the field from him, and he just looks at you. Do we really want to do this? As the party draws their weapons, and he just goes, okay. And upon the snap of his fingers, 8 skeletons crawl out of the dirt. And that's when the party goes, oh, God damn it.
But on that note, horror. We're near Halloween. We shouldn't talk about just solely this. Scary things in Dungeons and Dragons and in other role-playing games too.
But really quick, just to finish up our final
of
thoughts
course.
on the
Undead Warlord patron.
undead warlord patron.
I think the flavor of this class is amazing.
Yeah. So let's go through. Let's give it our being worked out rating system.
For players or NPCs, that's the question.
This is for anybody who
overall?
buys this. For anybody who buys this, which
It's
you should, by the way, because
it's definitely worth the 50 or 75 cents or whatever you want to pay him.
I think
I don't regret
I
it.
would pay $4. I would pay $4 to $5. It's something really cool to have. It's a really cool set of abilities. Overall, out of 10 on the 3 things that we find important. So for balance is going to be its lowest score, sadly, because it is just incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah.
It is incredibly powerful. This, like, if a player who is very, very capable with the game, gets this in their hands, they can
Wreak havoc upon
Yes.
whatever encounters you throw at them.
and so a very uncapable character, like a player who's just not that good with characters, they should be fine with this. But somebody who knows what they're doing, yeah, everybody else is going to become cheerleaders. So I'm going to give them a 5.
Yeah, don't even bother rolling initiative.
Paul, how do you feel about the actual mechanics of the class? How does it play? How much fun does this look like to play?
There are some clunky mechanics in here, but overall I feel this excellently translates how the Necromancer worked in Diablo 2, and I feel like it'd be pretty fun to play, all things considered. I would give this somewhere between a 6 and let's go with a 7.
Okay.
Out of 10, obviously. We're not using the 4-point rating scale where the only scores are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, so.
Yeah. And Clint, flavor and fluff.
Oh.
Because I feel like Calorol the Vile just became a undead warlord patron.
Well, my
Don't you lie to me, you son of a bitch.
now I can say it now that my players in my game know that they're dealing with a necromancer. I don't think that I'm going to change him up because I've already fleshed him out. But as far as like flavor goes, oh yeah, I could have a lot of fun with that. Flavor and fluff wise, I would probably give this at least a 7 or an 8. Like this is just a really, really cool thing to incorporate if you're trying to go for that really spooky necromancer bad guy.
So obviously it needs slight work, but the ideas are solid and the mechanics work out. It just needs to have its power reduced
All
a
right,
little
so
bit.
8 for you. Paul, what'd you get?
About a 7.
About a 7. So 15, and that puts us at a 19 overall. The balance is just a little off on this, but it is still a ridiculously fun-looking class. Everybody should go out and buy it. Anything, I guess the long and short of it is, if we're over a 15, we give it our seal of approval. It's something that you should definitely have in your toolkit. It's something that you should
Worst
be able
comes
to
to
use.
worst, it's not that expensive, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you can.
And more
find a use for
importantly, supporting any content users you can
Oh yeah.
is great.
Content
So,
creators, yourselves being the content users.
it. Yes, well,
so what-
you're
There's
the
an
content user.
interlocking net.
Yes.
yes.
With the last few minutes, gentlemen, let's
All right, so here's the question I threw out yesterday.
Spooky stuff.
Yeah, here's
when
the
it
question
comes
I
to
threw
the
out
game.
yesterday, and as to finish off our show for the day. You have one villain from horror or anything horror themed that you can use as the primary villain of an upcoming campaign.
Not a terribly long campaign, but also not a very short campaign. Let's
10
say
games.
10
10
sessions?
games.
Yeah.
10 games.
10 games? Okay.
Who is the big, bad, evil dude of your world from any horror movie or anything that we could consider close to horror?
The Thing from the 1980s version.
Okay,
It
tell
can
me why.
be anyone. It can be anything. It can hide anywhere. And the only thing that can kill it is fire. And it can disguise itself perfectly as you, except for its blood.
So a mass infection kind of a setting.
Yes, and more than that, it instills paranoia in your players because was the person they're talking to just infected as well by this thing?
That sounds like a lot of fun, but that also sounds like emotionally draining as hell when you're just like every 5 minutes, you're just like, so is this NPC infected now?
Well, the best part is you can infect the players and not tell them.
Exactly.
Or you can infect the players and tell them and have them lead the rest of the party astray. It would be emotionally draining to be sure, but I think it'd be fun for a relatively short campaign. What about you, Jake? What would you use?
Okay, I'm going to go full Kobayashi Maru on this. I'm going to cheat.
All right.
Skeleton Jack.
You mean Jack the Skeleton?
Oh, yeah, no. Skellington.
Skellington.
Jack
Jack
Skellington.
right.
Yeah, that was supposed to be dramatic. I was, reading it off as if you were reading a crime report. Here's why. Okay.
Skeleton Jack.
So in this fantasy world that I've created in 20 seconds in my head, belief, we'll do a bit of a Dark Souls thing, loving of the sun and of the fire and all that is good is what the people here believe, right? And after all, Halloween's initial idea of purging, dark spirits and being a thing related to evil.
Dark spirits be gone.
Dark spirits be gone. Get out of here. We don't like you. In this world, they've gotten rid of dark spirits. And that is where the king of Halloween Town appears. Coming out of the ground on a giant pumpkin from the patch and unleashing the horrors of the world. Because think about
The
it.
Great Pumpkin, if you will.
Yeah, the Great Pumpkin.
I was just about to say the
there's-
same thing.
Yeah. So, just from the intro song, you get amazing, one-off villains. The clown with the tearaway face, here in a flash and gone in a trace. He is the one who whispers who's there, the one who's the wind blowing through your hair. The shadow on the moon at night, filling your dreams to the brim with fright. This is Halloween, bitch. Okay? You can run an amazing 10 sessions with just Jack Skellington's.
Just the villains in that one musical number.
And of course, Oogie Boogie to
Yeah,
show
Oogie
off
Boogie there as another thing, but and the three little demons, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Oh, God, just the fun you could have of just having a normal setting, right, where suddenly you turn every single character from The Nightmare Before Christmas into a villain, and you just loose them on the world.
What about you, Clint?
Lastly, just because we're short on time here to wrap it up real quick, I would definitely, without a doubt, take one of my favorite antagonists from horror movies that I've seen is the Bagul from Sinister. Dude, just on the topic of the thing instilling paranoia and everything, imagine in this world that I've built, right? The party attains a house. The Bagul lives in paintings. He lives in pictures. I mean, if they know the legend of a Bagul could be anywhere. And he only comes after you have moved out, after he's wreaked havoc on everyone.
Yeah, I can see that. Getting chased through paintings is pretty dangerous. I mean,
yeah, but that's
A campaign, though?
Just
as a quick thing, that monster needs to give me that monster.
Yeah.
I want to use that in an encounter.
Oh yeah,
but how would
campaign,
it
though?
tyrannize the
because
party for
based on
10 sessions.
based on the way that the movie was, he killed everyone except for one person, and he took them as a follower.
Okay.
If this is a concurrent thing, let's say it's a Call of Cthulhu type of game where players are dying left and right, the players that have died would now be fighting with him.
1d4 investigators per round.
Right, I feel like there's just so much that you could do, and on top of that, I know that there's a spell in the game that you can basically mold into the wall. It could give use to some spells that generally don't get used by NPCs and just have that creepy paranoia kind of feel. I think.
Yeah. As opposed to the game Paranoia, which would be much more happy.
Yes.
But
All right, and I believe that is our time for the day. So, I'm Jake.
I'm Clint.
I'm Paul.
Thanks for coming, guys. Again, check out Watchtower Comics and Games in Dexter and Milan. Share our videos, like us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. 3DM's podcast on both. And
3 spelled out with letters. instead
Yeah,
of
3
numerals.
spelled out with letters and
The old-fashioned
with the
way.
number. Yeah, ye old-fashioned way.
Please read and review.
Yes.
Please read and review. Send us your
appreciate any
send us
homebrew.
your homebrews. Send us any content you want
We
us to
will read
review.
and review your
and
homebrews.
we will shout about anything you give us to shout about.
We're desperate like that.
A little bit. Thanks for tuning in to what is probably going to be the lost episode.
This is 3 DMs, and for the rest of the week, roll on.
Roll on.
Run out of the room screaming.
Nice and tight, y'all. All right.
All right.
Are we
Now,
off the
my
air?
mama made ribs, and so I'm going to go.
I have to go to a fraternity meeting now.
Sucks to be you.
I'm going to go home and cry in the shower. That way no one can tell
Well, you're invited to have ribs.
Okay, let's grab a books.
Grab the books, grab the halls.
I'm going to have one more stiff beverage because I think we're
Same.
Well, as long as you drink them quick.
me.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I was saying that to Paul, not you. I'm not disparaging your fast drinking abilities in any way.
just
Hello, dear.
Hello.
No, you carry those in your hand.
No, I need to sign out of all my social media on my computer.
Hey, do you have an intro and all that stuff?
I have a song, yeah.
Hey, Randy. When his show's coming